Now, as a lot of you guys might know, Russell Westbrook recently got traded from the Washington Wizards to the Los Angeles Lakers, and in today's video, as you guys can tell from the title, I'm going to be going over why this was an absolutely terrible trade for the Lakers, and why by the end of the 2021-22 NBA season, they're going to end up regret making this trade. Before this video does get started, I do want to say two quick things. One, I'm truly sorry I could not get one of those classic, trade reactions out at the time I was on vacation and I didn't have my recording equipment with me, so I couldn't exactly make a video. And along with that, go ahead and check out my podcast if you guys haven't already. The link to it will be in the description below. If you guys want to get more sports content from me, go ahead and subscribe to that channel. But without further ado, let's just get this video started. So, going over what the trade is gonna be, the Lakers, they will get Russell Westbrook, and the Wizards will get Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, the number 22 pick in this past year's draft, and that eventually became Isaiah Jackson, who the Wizards later shipped off to the Indiana Pacers. And it was rumored for a while that LA might look to trade for him, and before, I did not really think it was gonna happen. I'd always just brush it off as classic, oh, the Lakers are gonna get every star type of trade or scenario, and stuff like that. I did not actually think Russell Westbrook was gonna go to the Los Angeles Lakers. I really did not think that was going to happen, but what do you know? I'm making this video, and Russell Westbrook is now a Los Angeles Laker, and I absolutely hate this trade for the Lakers. I cannot stress how much I hate it for them. I absolutely hate it for the Los Angeles Lakers, alright? And I can understand why some people are in support of this trade and are defending the Lakers making this transaction, alright? First off, the Lakers could definitely get another ball handler next to not Russell Westbrook, next to LeBron James, so they can take the pressure off of LeBron James, because LeBron James is a very good playmaker. He is one of the best playmakers of all time. He is just that good, alright? There's no denying that. However, LeBron James, he is getting up there in age and is at the end of his career, and you do want to keep him fresh for the playoffs, and you do want to, ideally, you would like to have a secondary ball handler to take the pressure off LeBron James, and honestly, I can get that. I definitely get that. I definitely get addressing that issue, so there is a positive right there, but outside of that, the positives kind of end. Russell Westbrook is from Long Beach, so I guess it's kind of a positive. But outside of that, there really is just not a whole lot of positives with this transaction, right? I can understand that Russell Westbrook is going to be a good secondary ball handler next to LeBron James, but simply put, he is a terrible fit on the Lakers, alright? You have probably seen this before, in other videos on this trade, but Russell Westbrook, really the main reason why I do not like this trade is because Russell Westbrook, simply put, is a terrible fit on the Los Angeles Lakers, alright? First off, this guy is not a very good shooter. He can occasionally hit a mid-range shot, and, I guess if you leave him wide open 50 times, he eventually will make a couple of threes, but simply put, Russell Westbrook is not a good shooter. In fact, statistically, he is one of the worst three-point shooters of all time, alright? He has consistently shot below 30% from three, and, keep in mind, he's taken a lot more attempts than someone, of his three-point shooting caliber, would normally take. You wouldn't think that he would take a whole lot of threes, but, he's consistently shot under 30% from three, and, simply put, is a terrible shooter, and that makes him a really ball-dominant player. So when he doesn't have the ball in his hands, he's kind of useless offensively, because, it's not like, he just can't really do much. When someone like LeBron James has the ball in their hand, Russell Westbrook is pretty much just there to grab rebounds, and that's just not very good. So, if LeBron James were to attack the rim and, he passes out to Russell Westbrook for an open three, chances are 9 times out of 10, Russell Westbrook is gonna miss that, open shot, and, that's just gonna stagnate the Lakers offense, because they obviously won't be able to score as much. Russell Westbrook, I mean, he's just, simply put, is just kind of useless when he doesn't have the ball in his hands. And I mean, this isn't to really, diss Russell Westbrook as a player or anything like that, or like really just hate on him, because believe it, I mean, I really don't hate Russell Westbrook. I do like him a lot, but at the same time, I mean, there is no denying this. I mean, no matter how big of a Russell Westbrook fan you are, you cannot deny how, like, he's just not a very good shooter. And I mean, he's a really ball dominant player, and we've seen this in the past. Like, ironically, in the 2020 playoffs, when the Lakers faced up against the Houston Rockets and Russell Westbrook was on Houston, they would just dare him to shoot, and I mean, he would miss it, So Russell Westbrook is just a really bad shooter, and honestly, that's just not a good thing on the Lakers, alright? LeBron James ideally would like guys who can space the floor, and Russell Westbrook is the exact opposite, alright? Now, LeBron James is not a very bad shooter. He is a pretty decent shooter, but I mean, at the same time, he's not an elite shooter, and I think you'd much rather, have him attacking the basket a lot more than him taking 12 threes a game, because LeBron James, is simply put, is a much better finisher at the rim than he is as a three-point shooter. And simply put, we all know he's at his best when he's attacking the basket, because when he's 100% healthy and he's going to the and when he's going to the cup, well, he's basically a freight train, and you just cannot stop him, alright? LeBron James is just, he's a beast, alright? Simply put, LeBron James is absolutely awesome. And I mean, one of the things that, one of the amazing things about having him on your team is, because he's so good at finishing at the rim, when the defense is going to collapse on him, so everyone is left wide open because he can play make so well, he can pass it out to the open guy, and I mean, ideally, they would make that shot, but Russell Westbrook would not make that shot. And I know a lot of people are going to start pointing out the fact that, oh, Dwayne Wade wasn't a very good shooter on the Big Three Miami Heat. How come that worked out? Or Kyrie Irving, I mean, he can't shoot, but like, mainly Dwayne Wade, people are going to point that out. And while Dwayne Wade was not a very good three-point shooter, the reason why the Big Three Miami Heat worked was because Chris Bosh could shoot the three ball very well, so he had a complimentary piece who could shoot very well. That was a reason why it was able to work, alright? And neither Anthony Davis or Russell Westbrook can really space the floor like Chris Bosh could, alright? The Lakers spacing, I gotta say, it is gonna be really bad. In the modern NBA, that's just not a very good thing. I mean, this trade really makes the spacing extremely bad. And there were a lot, better options to really solve this secondary playmaker role. You can say secondary playmaker all the time, but at the same time, I mean, there were just a whole lot of better options. There are just better options out there. Guys like Malcolm Brogdon, who you could have made a trade for, And I mean, this is on the day when you guys will be seeing this. This will be the day of NBA free agency. So who knows what happens with some of these guys? Or maybe you try and go pursue Kyle Lowry in a sign-in trade. And as I said before, this comes out on the day of free agency. So who knows what happens here? By the time this video is out. Or you could have gone after someone like Mike Conley through sign-in trade. There were much better options, and along with that, they would have been cheaper and much better fits, because one of the things that all three of those guys have in common is that they can shoot the three ball well, which is something Russell Westbrook cannot do, alright? And along with that, the Lakers have a lot of money tied up into LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook. And because of that, they aren't gonna have a whole lot of cap space. And as of right now, they only have 4 players on their payroll. And if they were to sign no one in free agency, they'd just have 4 players, And obviously, that's less than the amount of guys who are on the court at the same time in an NBA basketball game, or just a basketball game. Well, just an NBA basketball game, alright? They have so much money tied up into all 3 of these guys, so it's gonna be really hard to support these guys with good depth pieces and have a deep team, And when these guys are off the floor, the Lakers, as a team are just not going to be very good, because the depth on the team is not very good. And you do need you need some depth if you do want to win a championship in the NBA. Like, take a look at the Brooklyn Nets Big Three. Yes, they have an absolute Mickey Mouse super team. No offense to any Nets fans or Kevin Durant fans. I probably triggered a ton of them. So, yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to get buried alive by them. But, I mean, yeah, they might have this absolute god squad of a team. But one of the reasons why why, it works a lot better, than the Lakers' big three. One of the reasons why I think it will work a whole lot better is because they have good depth pieces. They got Joe Harris. I mean, they got DeAndre Jordan, I guess. I mean, Spencer Dinwiddie's a free agent, but like, I mean, they do have good depth pieces on their team, and that is one reason why their big three can, it actually works, And I know people are gonna bring up the fact that, oh, Bruce Brown, speaking of the Nets, like, oh, Bruce Brown isn't a very good shooter, and I mean, like, he was able to work in the playoffs. I mean, yeah, he was able to, and I mean, you can't have Russell Westbrook, I guess, move off ball by having him cut to the rim, but I do think teams will eventually pick up on, like, how to stop that, and eventually, I mean, when they find out, Russell Westbrook will just basically go back to being a liability without the ball in his hands. And I mean, this isn't NBA 2K My League, where you can just build God squads and just dismiss fit completely. And I understand Russell Westbrook is from Long Beach, and I understand that, there are some positives to this trade, but at the same time, this trade, I mean, overall, this trade is just not very good. And this trade could easily blow up in their face, because, I mean, in the regular season, this could be an issue, and maybe the Lakers, do finish a lot lower than expected. And I mean, in the playoffs, I definitely think this issue could really be exposed. And simply put, man, this was an absolute mistake of a trade for the Lakers, and I can tell you, by the end of the 2021-22 NBA season, they're gonna regret trading for Russell Westbrook, and before you know it, they're gonna be shopping him around to really just see what they can get. But that's kind of all I have to say for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. It truly means a lot to me. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you guys hit that like button, as it really helps out the channel. And also subscribe if you guys are new and you guys enjoy this type of content, so you don't miss out on any new videos like this. Plus, we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and once we hit our goal, I am finally going to do a face reveal. But with that being said, I'm at you guys.